channel Rise or Math Classes. I Priyansh Rai welcome all the viewers and subscribers to our channel. In today's video, as I told you that I will bring a new, or we can say that the second part of the video of the remaining chapter, Forest and Wildlife Resources. So in today's video we are going to continue our previous video by the classification of forest, and for that some famous movements and what are the way that we can conserve our forest. So let's start our today's video. So for this, who have not seen our latest video, that is of wild forest and wildlife resources part 1, go ahead with that video so that you can also understand this video properly. Now we are going to start this chapter. Before this, we are going to recapitulate our previous part of the chapter, that is what we have studied. So we have studied biodiversity, flora and fauna of India, type of species. There are basically 6 types. As I told you, what are the reasons behind the depletion of flora and fauna with the Indian biodiversity in India. So let's start our today's video by the type of forest we are going to start. In this video, we are going to tell about the one most important part, that is type of forest and the famous few movements which happened in the colonial period and after that also. So let's start with the type of forest. So basically, what are forests? Forests are the hub house of flora and fauna with biodiversity, which provide the basic things through which we can convey our life. So first type we are going to know, that is the normal. The normal forest means it is okay. So what are means, it is the forest which are having a large quantity of trees with means flora and fauna and having some large quantity of Indian biodiversity. So we are going to talk about the next part of the forest, that is vulnerable forest. In the classification of species, we have also studied the term vulnerable. So what does it mean? It means that it is a verge of extinct, or it can be preserved by a few effort. So this kind of forests are called as vulnerable forest. In the definition term, we can say that it is a type of forest which have not more than and not less than the minimum or maximum trees in that. So what are these few examples? As you can see that I have written the two most popular state, that is Punjab and Rajasthan. Why I have written? So basically we are going to know about firstly Punjab. As we all know that Punjab is the grain hub of India, as it is having the most fertile soil which cultivate most of the good crops, pulses, and having blessed by the most fertile soil. And here I have taken the most fertility, and on the second term means it is consist of plains. Plain are the part which are consist of the means it is made by the river. So it is the most fertile land. I have to give some general knowledge about Punjab. So Punjab basically is the name for the state who is having 5 rivers. In Punjab we are having 5 rivers, so that we can say that it is a whole plain area, and because of the river their land is most fertile. So more and more cutting trees means deforestation is taking place to have more land so that we can grow more crops for our livelihood. So this is why the Punjab is taken to be a vulnerable, means it has the least, or we can say the least number of trees, means forest area. So it comes, means the state comes in the, and in the state the whole forest, means how much forest is remained is all come in the vulnerable forest. Okay. On the second hand, we are taking Rajasthan. Why we are taking Rajasthan? So as we all know that the most popular desert, the Thar desert, consists of the half, or we can say that more than half of the Rajasthan. So means it is having sand for the whole state, and the state boundaries we are having with Haryana and Punjab, that much part is having the forestry, we can say that. So this is also we are taking in the terms of vulnerable forest. Now we are taking the third and the last one, that is reserve forest. So what are reserve forest? As I told you, the most popular, or we can say that the most responsible term of the deprivation of the forest is of in the colonial period. In the colonial period, the East India Company people came and they started to develop our country as they are saying, but they are not developing our country. They are just wasting our resources. So what they are doing, that they have to make railways, and that time we are not having so much knowledge about what is cement, so we can make the cement blocks which are using now. So before they are using the logs of for big and the old trees which is having thickest thun, or we can say that thickest trunk are being cutted down and making of planks, or we can say that blocks are going to make with that thick trees. So reserve forest means the forests which are having the most important trees which are needed as a medicine, fruits, vegetables, and most important part which we need. So few examples of the state are the Jammu and Kashmir we are taking, and southern state means Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. As we all know, Jammu Kashmir is the coldest place in India. So it is comprising of the most popular apple trees which are being sent till now also. It is being sent to the foreign countries as they are rich in flavor. It contains the most valuable fibers that we need. So for the apple, we are considering the whole Jammu and Kashmir to be in the reserve forest because it is having a good, and we can say that the best varieties of apples present in this. And the southern state, why we call taking southern state in the reserve forest, as the southern state means Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh is the hub house of this spices, means spices are being most produced in the southern part, or we can say the southern state of India. First, the foreign people came in search of India and they have come to south part of the India. So it is the most valuable, or we can say that it is a type of gold, means it is being sent at the higher rate in the European country. It has a huge demand in foreign part as we are having the hub of these spices. So it is the most valuable thing for us that it increase the trade of India. So we have considered the whole part, or we can say that whole type of forest in terms of normal, vulnerable, and reserve forest. Now we are going to, as we have considered the pattern, or we can say that the most responsible thing that are including the depletion of flora and fauna with wildlife. So we are taking how to conserve, or we can say that how to afforest the forest. So let's see the next part of conservation of forest. Now we are going to know about the conservation strategy which was simplified by the us, or we can say that the people living in the country, state, or by the government. So let's start with the conservation strategy. First one is the traditional communities. Why I have written this traditional communities? The government has decided to give the forest in the hands of the traditional communities, as we can give them a turn of scheduled caste, which is SC and ST, like I have written also there. So the government has decided to give the forest in the hands of traditional communities to protect it from the foreign, or we can say that hunters, or which are doing the depredation. And after we can say that beside the reserve forest, the whole part, or we can say that the normal can be used both by the government and the normal people, and the vulnerable forests are being given to the traditional communities, especially the vulnerable which are in the verge of being extinct. So the government has given to the traditional people to cultivate, or we can say that for the process of afforestation means to cultivate more and more trees. For this also the government has combined struggling for the afforestation purpose with the local communities, that is SC and STI. As I told you, both the government and the traditional or the local communities participate their best to cultivate more and more trees. So, and in the Kaziranga, or a national park in Assam, in that, or we can say that near that national park, the villagers which live near that fought against mining. So the inner feeling of the villagers told them to fight against the mining means, as I told you, mining is the one of the most important, or we can say that most responsible feature for the depletion of the flora and fauna of India, as the most humus full soil goes down and the downermost soil comes up. So it is the main reason, that is why. And for the forest mining, for mining purpose we have to clear the forest if we are doing mining near the forest or in between the forest. So we have to cut a lot of trees for the mining purpose. So the villager had fought against that also. So this are some strategy, and we have termed as the Indian Forest Act of 1972, as I told you in the previous video. So all these things are in the conservation strategy of Indian government, we can say that, or in the local people it comes from the inner feeling of them. Now we are going to know about the most famous acts, laws passed by the Indian government for the conservation of the forest. Now we are going to know about the conservation movement, means some specific terms on the conservation of some basic terms. So first one and the most famous is the chipko movement. So what does it symbolizes? The chipko movement is done for the conservation of forest, means the people stick with the trees and they told the woodcutters who are cutting the trees that don't cut the trees, otherwise we stick the trees and you have to cut over us. So this movement starts on before or in the month of April in 1973 from the northern part of or the southern part of Himalaya in northeast India. So The chipko movement is after the India's independence and the most famous act which is being passed over. So next we are going to start the Beej Bachao movement. Now the second most famous movement is Beej Bachao movement. So what does it symbolizes? We are using chemical pesticide and manures on the places of natural manures. So this movement is for the cultivation of crops, means it is of flora and fauna. So this movement starts on August 1982, a place named as Tehri and Nan Danya, which is the village of Odisha. So these two villages have started these movement from the year 1982 to use the most fertile seeds on the places of HIV seed that we have studied in the previous class of this geographic chapter. So in this movement they are using the natural seeds on the place of HIV seed and natural manure, that is cow dung, using cow dung, animal waste and fruit pulp also. So they are using the whole natural things on the basis of chemical fertilizers or manures. So this movement is of flora and fauna to conserve the seeds from the chemical pesticide. Now the last one is the Joint Forest Management, or we can say that JFM Act, which was passed in the year 1988 from the state of Odisha. This revolutionary movement is specially introduced by the Loka tribe, which is of Odisha mainly. So the Odisha government has first revolutionary these type of movement, or we can say that management act for the conservation of forests. So what are the contribution of the Loka tribe? So the head of the Loka tribe have considered to the chief minister of Odisha that we have to conserve the natural resources of forest. That is basically wood, herbs, medicinal plants, vegetable, fruits, and basically that biodiversity, or we can say that the wildlife of the forest. So the head of the local tribe considered this by making a law, or we can say that they have made first a bill and introduced in the parliament. So this was being implemented by the Odisha government in the year 1988 to conserve the forest, which was named as the Joint Forest Management Act. Why it is called? After the first implement in Odisha, it has considered a most valuable, or we can say that most aggressive increase in the forest area in India. So after that, in all over the India, this act has been passed to conserve the forest and termed as the Joint Forest Management Act. So we have to study this for the conservation of forest, or basically do not harm the resources or the forest or natural resources with the life of the wild animal or the wildlife. We are not going to harm also them. So basically this whole chapter is for the knowledge about the wildlife and the flora and fauna of India, to do not harm, and it is our that we are living in this country which is having the most of the flora and fauna from the world history. So one most important thing is the Project Tiger. As I considered in my first video that it is the most valuable part, means I am going through orally to this part and I will obviously make a new video for that. So what is the Project Tiger? So basically in the year after the India's independent, only 39 tigers were remain all over the India, not only the one state in Madhya Pradesh or any of the state. So basically this project, or we can say that the Project Tiger, is for the conservation of tiger in India. In India in year 1947, only 39 tigers remained all over the India. Thus, Project Tiger is the most important term for the conservation of tiger in India. It is passed in the year after the independence. Until now, the India is having more than 600 tigers conserved, and we thought that it may all bring up more than 6,000 and more. It is a good thing that we are having a good diversity from the world history, but it's a fortune for us that we are losing it by killing them for their flesh, their skin, and for their bones also. Basically, tiger bones are used for the medicinal purpose also. So it is the one of the most worst part that we are using the bone of the animals for us by making medicine and something else. So it is a wrong thing to kill the animals. So this is the few topics that we are going to. Now we have completed our NCERT chapter 2 of geography, that is forest and wildlife resources. As I told you, I will bring a new video for this chapter, so I accomplished my promise. So till that, I have do a lot of hard work on this video. Who of you all like this video, please like, and don't forget to share this. And which of the part or which topic do you like the most in this video? Give your answer in comment box. And the question you are going to arise, please also ask them. So for that, please do not forget to subscribe our channel, like, share, and I have told you to comment also. So till next, I will bring my new video to all of you very soon. Till then, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Sorry, it's DJ.